Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Welcome back. For some reason, you came back. Thanks. Welcome to episode 4 of History of Games. Metal Gear Solid Edition. Metal Gear was released on PlayStation 1. It was released in Japan, September 1998, and North America, it was released in October of 1998, 1 whole month later. So this game was the first stealth game that I actually enjoyed playing, because I am an impatient gamer, which is why I don't like sniping and first-person shooters, because sitting there and waiting for people is so fucking boring. Oh my god. On the a-hole, it just runs in with 2 fucking pistols and just dies instantly. But it's more fun that way. But anyway, the year is 2005. This takes place 6 years after the downfall of Zanzibar, which is Metal Gear 2. So a renegade, genetically enhanced special forces unit, also known as Foxhound, seized a remote island in Alaska's archipelago, and they codenamed it Shadow Moses Nuclear Weapons Disposal Facility. They have a giant robot with nuclear capabilities, known as Metal Gear Rex. They're threatening the US government with Rex if they don't return Big Boss's remains and pay $1 billion within 24 hours. High stakes. Solid Snake is forced out of retirement by Colonel Roy Campbell, who from now on I will just refer to as Colonel. Not the Colonel, but Colonel. So Colonel forced him out of retirement, and he's like, hey, you gotta do this. And Snake's like, cool. So Snake enters in the facility. The first actual hostage you see is the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson. But I'm gonna call him the DARPA chief. So the DARPA chief says that Metal Gear Rex can be deactivated with a secret detonation override code, because there's always a secret override code. Just like how whenever someone programs something, there's always a secret backdoor. But then, out of nowhere, he dies of a heart attack. He can't help you anymore, so you got locked up. You are next to Colonel's niece, Meryl. What a quinky! That is the Colonel's niece! Oh my god, what a quink. And then she helps you escape. And you're like, thanks, Meryl. And she's like, and peace, Snake. After you escape with the assistance of Meryl, you run into another hostage, the Arms Tech president, Kenneth Baker. But then you run into Revolver Ocelot, who likes to do this and spins the gun. And then during that fight, you get interrupted again by a cybernetic ninja. Because what else? And then he cuts off Ocelot's hand, and he's like, oh, because that's what you do when you don't have a hand, I imagine. Just check out the historical footage of Luke. That's what you do. You go. Anyway, so, you talk to Baker, and he's like, I gave Meryl a PAL card to deactivate the Metal Gear, so go talk to her again. Remember that person you met already, magically, and she helped you escape? Go find her. She'll help you, and then we can all just be good, okay? But then he also dies of a heart attack. Killing it with these heart attacks. So heart attacks run rampant on Shadow Moses. You don't get Meryl's codec number. So one thing this game does is fun little stupid shit like this is you talk to Colonel and you're like, hey, what's her codec? You gotta know her codec. He's like, no, it's on the back of the case. And you're like, what the fuck does that mean? Back of what case? You didn't pick up any cases. There's no cases laying around in the game. So you're like, hey, where the fuck is this case? What am I doing with my life? And it's on the back of the game case. There's a picture of Snake talking to Meryl, and it shows you the codec number. Kojima is a fucking genius. Brilliant bastard. It's a little shit like that, you know? You gotta appreciate it. I remember the first time one of my older brothers was playing it, and we went through everything. We were looking on the back of stupid everything. We would pick up items in the game, try to inspect them, fucking crawling on the ground to get the camera angle to spin. Nothing. And then I don't remember who we found out from, or if he looked, but he borrowed the game from one of his friends. Once you call Meryl on the fucking codec, like, hello, she agrees to meet in the warhead disposal area, but you have to contact Metal Gear's designer, Dr. Hal Emmerich, also known as Otacon, who Meryl refers to as Otacon at the end of the game. You're like, cool, let's go find Otacon or Otacon. On your way, you receive an anonymous codec call who's like, hey, there's something coming at you, and it's a tank, so watch yourself. And then it's Vulcan Raven, who's like, hey, I'm in a tank. Then you defeat him in a boss fight, and then you go onward. Then you locate Otacon, not Otacon. And then you find Mr. Ninja again. Mr. Cyborg Ninjas, because the game is not complete without cyborg ninjas. And then you find out it's an old friend. It's an old pal, Gray Fox. So he's like, Gray Fox, oh my god, I thought you were totally 100% dead. And Gray Fox is like, no, bro, I'm totally good. What's up? I got this sweet suit. So then Otacon's like, I'm gonna help you, but I'm going to use this active camouflage because I'm gonna hide my fucking ass up. You meet up with Meryl, get the PAL card, but then Meryl is possessed by another person, Psycho Mantis. Psycho Mantis is one of the best boss fights that I can honestly think of. Mantis was a great fight because he actually reads your memory card based on what you do in the game and your memory card. So if you save a lot, he'll say you're very cautious. If you save less, you're very reckless. If there's another Konami game like Castlevania Symphony of the Night Episode For one, if you kill lots of guards, you're a great warrior. It's all based on like what you do, hit a lot of traps, if you avoid a lot of traps. And then to beat him, because he predicts all your moves, you have to switch from controller slot 1 to controller slot 2, because he can't predict your moves. Brilliant, brilliant, goddamn brilliant boss fight. You punch Meryl in the face a few times because she's possessed. Then you defeat Psycho Mantis. Hooray. After you did, Mantis is like, hey, she likes you. And then dead. You reach the underground passageway, you get ambushed, Meryl gets shot by a sniper known as Sniper Wolf. First name Sniper, last name Wolf. So then you have to do a sniping boss fight, which is actually pretty cool because she's constantly running around, even though it's a sniping boss fight, and that's not my shit, because I can't just run at her with the machine gun. Still actually a pretty cool boss fight. That's one thing this game had, was a lot of really cool boss fights. So then you get captured, you find out that Liquid Snake is your brother, and then Ocelot tortures you. Yeah. So the torture scene was very interesting, because you actually have to play the torture scene. So he's torturing you, you have to manage circle, and then you don't die. And you have to pass 2, I think, to proceed. What's my favorite thing about this is how many forums are online, because people weren't able to hit the circle button fast enough, and that was never a problem for me, because I'm so cool. Ocelot mentions that if you use a turbo controller, he'll know. You know, he won't, but it's still funny that he's like, hey, if you use a turbo controller, I'll know it. After the torture scene, fun times, go back to your cell, and you find that Anderson's body is there. Remember Anderson, that other person that was alive in front of you, and then had a heart attack? On Heart Attack Island. Welcome back to Heart Attack Island. Shadow Moses. Anderson's body looked like he's been dead for days. So, that was not Anderson, was it? So then, you escape again. You're the master of unlocking. Then Liquid's like, I'm going to attack you from a helicopter. You get a Stinger missile launcher, and you shoot the helicopter down. That's what you do. You're Snake. You're Solid Snake. You're adaptable. You get shit done. You're the ace in the hole. That's what they actually said in the game. Then you emerge onto a snowfield. You find Sniper Wolf again. You murder her. And while she's coughing up red mist because of the polygon graphics, Otacon's like, hey, can love bloom in a battlefield? And Snake's like, why are we talking about this? Because Otacon apparently loves Sniper Wolf. He was in love with her. Now she's 100% dead. Snake continues on to Rex's hangar, and then you're ambushed by Raven. Again, he's not dead. And then you defeat him. Raven's like, hey, I'm gonna tell you some things. And you're like, he's like, come closer. Closer. Come closer. Come closer. Sorry. But he's like, I'm gonna tell you stuff, even though I'm gonna die soon. And you're like, cool, tell me what you got, I'll get my notepad. So then Raven tells you that Anderson was dead, and the person that you saw was part of Foxhound. That's right. Twist. Anderson you met, and then died, was Decoy Octopus, part of Foxhound. But now he's dead. That's what happens on Shadow Moses, hashtag Heart Attack Island. So, as you infiltrate the hangar, you hear Liquid and Ocelot prepare the launch sequence. So, you're like, I gotta shut this shit down. Go in, you use the PAL card, and bam, Metal Gear Rex is activated. What? Another big twist. Whoa, one after the other. So, this whole time, you were talking to Master Miller. So, Snake has been talking to Master Miller, getting advice. Like, hey, how's your weather? It's like, oh, it's really shadowy over here in Shadow Moses. There's a lot of heart attacks happening. Master Miller's like, okay, cool. Stay motivated, pal. So you've been talking to him through this whole time, and he calls you up, and he's like, everything's finally going to plan. And you're like, what's going on? Except you're Snake, so like, what's going on? Because it's voiced by David Hayter, who has a fantastic voice. Because he's like, I'm gruff and I like Banes. So you find out that Master Miller is Liquid Snake, your brother, the bad guy. Killing it. And this was a setup. You were supposed to get the PAL card. You were supposed to do all this shit to activate Metal Gear Rex. So take that. So you find out over codec before he tells you it's Liquid. When it's still Master Miller, Colonel calls you and he's like, hey, I'm the Colonel. Fried chicken. Also, Master Miller has been dead for days. But his codec was cut off, so I wasn't able to find out. And then it goes back to Master Miller, air quotes, Liquid. Then Liquid's like, hey, I'm Liquid. I'm your brother. How about that? So he takes his glasses off, and then he fucking puts his hair down. And then bam, it looks like Liquid. This whole time it's been Liquid, but his hair was up and he had sunglasses on. Yeah, anyway, so it pretty much turns out that it was all planned. You were supposed to launch Metal Gear. You activated it. Snake goes in, he's a Snake, and then he activates Metal Gear. The friends, people, that's not part of the plan, part of my plan, because you always gotta make friends on Shadow Moses. You're part of a 1970s clone project called Les Enfants Terribles. This. Just text. So it's a program to clone Big Boss, who was what you play as in the older ones. So there's so much to this game. The other twist you do, the vanilla swirl, is you were there to activate it. The chocolate swirl on your twist you do is that you're unknowingly carrying a virus known as Fox Die. So you come across someone in Foxhound and it gives them a heart attack. So it turns out the reason this is Heart Attack Island is you have Fox Die. Fox Die. Coming its fall. Order now. The government made virus, called it Fox Die, and it gives the members of Foxhound cardiac arrest because they want to retrieve Metal Gear Rex undamaged. So Liquid hops in Metal Gear Rex and he's like, hey, I'm gonna use this giant mecha robot with nuclear capabilities on you, brother. Then you fight. You destroy Metal Gear Rex. And then you hop on top of Metal Gear Rex and you have to punch out Liquid. He's like, brother, I have to punch you in the face. And you're like, cool, I'm gonna punch you back. So then you fist fight each other on top of Metal Gear. Then you win. And then you escape with either Meryl or Otacon, depending on some choices you made throughout the game. And then that person drives, and you're like, oh, there's a machine gun. And Liquid, of course, is not dead yet. He's Liquid Snake. You just shoot him in the face like 400 times with a heavy machine gun. So then your vehicle crashes, his vehicle crashes, he pulls a pistol on you, and then he dies. What does he die of? Cardiac arrest! He gets murdered from Fox Die. And then, as he's dying, he says, Fox! And then Solid Snake says, die! And then, because he's Batman, he dies. Fox Die. Dead. You could have just waited. You could have played cards with him, and he would have died with fucking 5 hands later. Fox Die. So, one person that's been talking to you this whole game, who you thought was good, Naomi, I'm not gonna talk about her because she's a bitch, she injected you with Fox Die, and she's like, hey, the whole, like, ending monologue scene is her talking over, like, if you want to live, just live. Other inspiring words that I can't remember, and I don't want to Google it. But she pretty much just says, hey, you have an undetermined amount of time, and you could totally just get murdered too. Sweet. Thanks, Nam. Appreciate it. You're a super swell gal. And funny story, Ocelot is a double agent. You find that out too. So his mission was to steal Baker's disc of Metal Gear specifications, and give them to the government. And that, my friends, is Metal Gear Solid. Tactical espionage action. That's the story. The story, if you think that's ridiculous, the story in the later games makes so little sense. It kind of gets in the same vein of like Kingdom Hearts 2 where you're like, I don't know what's happening, but the game's fun. Yeah. This game is fucking fantastic, though. Development. Okay, so originally the third Metal Gear game was planned for the 3DO, or as I like to call it, the 3DO. So this was Metal Gear Solid instead of Metal Gear 3. They said Metal Gear Solid because they switched from 2D to 3D. Isn't that fun? They went from sprites to polygons, and they call it Solid. So at the time, Snake's Revenge was only in Japan. This is Metal Gear 2 for America. So development for this game began in mid-95 with the intentions of creating the best PlayStation game ever. Yeah, I mean, they got my vote, honestly. Yeah, that one's definitely on the top of my list. Easily top 10, probably top 5 too. That game is fucking great. Not my favorite game, because Symphony of the Night is a thing that exists. They were going for realism, and they wanted to make the game, like, action-packed and tense. They wanted to have real moments with a lot of plot twists, and for a PlayStation 1 game, watch a movie nowadays and like, oh, he's the bad guy. Cool. Like, oh, no one was contaminated with the virus that makes you kill other people, a special group, an island you're infiltrating? No. Oh, he's the bad guy. Go. The creators were educated by a SWAT team on weapons and tanks and a lot of the stuff that was involved in this game for, like, super realism. And they actually had a weapons expert involved in this game, too. They also went to firing ranges. They did a lot to make all these polygon guns realistic, which is actually pretty impressive. You really never know what goes into a game until you watch my videos. So that's the only way to get information. So the characters and Metal Gear Rex design was from Yoji Shinkawa, based on Kojima's ideas, his fucking brain. Funny enough, Solid Snake's physique was based on one and only Jean-Claude Van Damme, JCVD, and his face was based on Christopher Walken. So Kojima wanted like a ton of interaction with the actual items in the game, so which is why you can hide bodies under desks or under a bed, body in a goddamn locker. So you open the locker and you're like, bam, dead body locker. Anybody want some? So it was initially showed E3 97, and then it was playable first time Tokyo Game Show 98, released the same year, Japan. And then they also launched an extensive promotional plan. So advertised the motherfucker out of this game, which is a good idea if you make a good game. So they did demo discs, magazine advertisements, and they totaled about $8 million in promo costs. They went pretty crazy with the demos. It was about 12 million demo discs were released into the wide. So the musical score was done by in-house Konami musicians. The music in this game is so good. So this game, actually when it came out in Japan, had a regular standard edition. It also had the premium package. It came with the game, t-shirt, Foxhound dog tags, memory card stickers, and a music CD with the soundtrack. With actually, the soundtrack had a few bonus songs too. A 40-page booklet. Oh, Metal Gear Solid Classified. So that comes with like production notes, interviews. The North American version came out. They actually made a few changes. They gave difficulty settings, because we're North America and we're terrible at video games. So you could choose from 3 in the beginning. Once you beat the game, you get to play super mega hard, murder your face mode. When you play the game through, the third run through, you wear a tux. They just give you a tux. And you wear it. So this game got part of the greatest hits, so now you have green slab taking up part of the case, but it just means the game sold well. So, and the price difference isn't like exponential, because this game's been released a few times, and they made a Metal Gear Essentials collection, which had 1, 2, and 3 on PS2. The only HD was Twin Snakes, came out for GameCube, where they pretty much rebuilt it in Metal Gear Solid 2's engine. Actually, I didn't play that one, because it's $50. In the game, it also has like weird VR missions. They actually released a full game with like 300 plus VR missions, and it was so much fun. If you like, okay, reviews, this game reviewed insanely well. It was like the intro to like making a good stealth and action game, because it didn't really exist beforehand. This is a stealth game that action fans would actually like myself, because I'm impatient. So this game got pretty much 93 out of 100. Super very good ratings. This game is called the founder of the stealth game. This game was a commercial success. It shipped over 6 million copies worldwide. 6 million. It sold 1 million in Japan, 5 million in the US and Europe. 5 million. Kojima said in like 2014 in some interview that he didn't expect the game to sell close to as well. They didn't expect it to sell at all, and then it turned out to be one of the top games of all time. So this game, anytime you got detected, you went into alert mode. And during alert mode, enemies would constantly spawn and try to murder you. So you would have to kill everyone really fast, hide, or like move to the next area, or just hiding. You could hide like under beds, but then all the guards would search around the rooms and look for you. So nothing's worse than hiding under a bed and then they find you. My favorite thing was you shoot them all in the face, then hide. So if you were outside and you left snow prints, always guys patrolling in the top corner, you had a little radar. It showed their field of vision. So if you were in that cone, you got spotted. So if you were far enough away, they'd be like, what is that? And then go investigate. So if you're outside in the snow and you left snow prints, they'd be like, whose goddamn prints are these? I'm going to follow them. So then they follow your prints to you, find you, and then shoot you in the face. Alert mode. Other things you could do. If you killed someone and you just left the body out, they would find it. When more guys spawned, if you were hiding, they would find the body, keep you in evasion mode. So once you evade until the timer goes down, then you're clear. Then you can resume your life. But if they find you, they pretty much keep you in evasion mode for longer, because you just let the stupid body out, because you're a dumbass. So you hide the body, or you just shoot everyone in the face that comes in. So one thing this game does, while you're in alert mode or evasion mode, you can't use your radar. So you can't tell who's walking around. So you have to get out of them in order to have Mr. Radar back. Crawl under objects during evasion. They give you a cardboard box that you can hide in. But if you're just a cardboard box in like a snowfield, they're just gonna kick it open. Be like, hey, you're just some guy in a box. But if you're in like an actual warehouse area with stuff, you can actually hide in a cardboard box, which is amazing. There's a lot of different guns in this game, and they all had their unique uses. Like a few of them were just like, you get a Nikita rocket launcher. It's a guided rocket launcher, but its use was just to progress through like one door and then move forward, because other than that it was pretty useless. I did like hiding in a room and then shooting it and guiding it all the way to where people were, and then they're like, oh, I got a rocket, and then it would just boost it into their chest and then they'd explode. That was fun. But for the most part, one thing I would have liked was a shotgun. That's the only thing I wanted in the first one. Your stealth. Shotguns aren't stealth. I get it. Still makes me sad. Okay, so another thing in this game. The codec. What is the codec? Apparently, the codec is like fucking nanomachines. So to open out your flip phone and be like, hello, this is Snake. You have nanomachines injected in you so you can communicate without actually having to communicate. So it's like having a Bluetooth, except in your fucking head. But my favorite thing is this whole series, from Solid on, is when you talk to someone, the codec's ringing, and then you hold your ear and you're like, hello. That's what they did. So there's nanomachines in your head, and you talk to each other. You talk and smash your ear. Hello. I don't know, I thought that was interesting. I mean, they had to make a way to communicate without them being like, hey, flip phone. Hey, it's Snake, what's up? And then when they get mad, they can just close it angry and make that sound where it's like, you gave me a fox die? Click. God. So rude. This game was amazing. The unique boss fights, the crazy plot twists, and just a really good soundtrack, environment, all the stuff you could do. They give you reasons to replay the game again by unlocking stuff. It was so well done. It shows they put a ton of time and effort into this. Kojima knows how to make a good ass game, even though the later games make no sense. But that's beside the point. Well, I think that's it. This concludes Metal Gear Solid. Thank you for watching. Just want to say why, and I'll see you jerks later. Subscribe!